Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru. Episode 13, is it? No. Is it 13? It is 13. It is episode 13, okay. We have now officially broken through the bounds of a core. We have now officially exceeded the usual 12 episodes, and we are in the wild lands right now. Here be dragons and all that. But yeah, episode 13. Which means we have quite a few episodes to wrap up the current story, and perhaps have Oliver assassinate at least one more teacher. Maybe we'll see. I'm not sure how how scarcely those things are placed within the story. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see about that, of course. Right. I'm a little tired. A little bit of housekeeping. I went to the zoo today with my mom, and we spent the whole day at the zoo. So forgive me if I'm a little bit tired, but I have a feeling that this show is gonna, is gonna make me a little less tired. So hopefully it doesn't show that much. But if it does, I mean, what can you do? Also, a brand new season has started on the channel, so if you are looking for some other anime to watch rather than my repertoire from the current season, there's gonna be new shows. Frieren aired today, and for you it's gonna be yesterday. And today, I think some anime about killing dragons or something. Crimson, whatever, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna be watching that. So yeah, that's it for housekeeping, I guess. Story so far, or rather, previous episode. Well, in the previous episode, we had an Avengers Assemble moment, kinda sorta, where everybody wants to go and save Pete. We had a little bit of a time skip, and our main characters are a little bit restless, a little bit listless. Maybe is it even a correct word to use here? I'm not sure. With the the whole perceived inaction of the upperclassmen, right? Nobody's doing anything. Why does it take so long? Pete might just as well be dead by now, right? Those thoughts are lowering their morale and making them just straight up angry and scared for their friend. So they decide to take matters in their own hands and rescue Pete themselves. Of course, everybody at first makes that decision mostly separately, mostly in isolation. Only later on do they join forces and go with the rescue together. Everybody except Katie, who isn't the greatest fighter, so she would probably be a detriment to the party. And the guy who, similarly, not the greatest fighter, but he at least had some tool weed, something like that it's called. Seeds, the ones that he used to create that barrier, gave them to Oliver. They had a really nice moment together, with Guy being like legitimately scared shitless for Oliver, and this was great. This was a great moment, probably the most memorable one from the entirety of the previous episode. I'm gonna be honest. A lot has happened, but that one little moment with Guy and Oliver, it really had some purchasing power, for the lack of a better term, within me. Right. Yeah, we are setting off towards the adventure. Katie agreed to be Vera's co-worker, essentially co-researcher, if it means that Vera helps us, and Vera will help us. She will go with us, with the team, with Oliver, Nanao, and Chella to the dungeon, to the labyrinth, and they will learn from her because she knows how to deal with all those, chimeras that Ophelia creates. And because Vera knows, how do you even call that field of science? Xenobiology? Something along those lines. But she knows, she knows it well. She knows what she's talking about, so she of course knows how to defeat those monsters, those magical beasts, those chimeras even, if not easily, then at least reliably. Although to her it comes very easily, but she's an upperclassman, so there's also a difference in sheer power scale between them, so it of course makes sense that she would have a little bit easier of a time with it. Anything else worth mentioning? Not really. We are en route. The upperclassmen are, still searching for the missing people. I think it was Carlos and Alvin. Or, no, it was Yeah, Carlos and Alvin. Carlos and Alvin, I think, went on with the search, and they met Laius. I don't remember his name, but he's just Laius, so that's how I'm gonna call him. And he gave them some directions and whatnot. So they're gonna have a little bit easier of a time searching for the missing people, not just Pete, but other people as well. Pete is a reversi, so that's gonna throw a little bit of a wrench into Ophelia's plans, because sure, he is able to change, but can he change as well at will? Is he at that point in mastering his ability? I'm not sure. I don't think so. We'll see how it goes. And whether it will take us the remaining episodes, or will the matter be resolved within this one? Probably not. Episode 13, they go through the second floor. Episode 14, they go through the fourth floor, find Ophelia. Episode 15, victory, and fall out of the victory. Probably something along those lines. But yeah, we won't know that until we see it. So without further ado, let's watch it. You're gonna need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and I'm gonna have to ask you guys for your support. Support the channel monetarily on Patreon or YouTube, linked down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 13 of Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru in 3, 2, 1, go. Ophelia's backstory, I assume. She looks Ophelia-ish. Whomst. Very good. Oh, Carlos. Okay. So they do go a fair bit back, it seems. Well, I have my doubts. Probably Reversi. Or something else going on here. Or just a handsome girl. That's also possible, of course. This neck tattoo makes me wonder, actually. I'm probably spewing bullshit right now, and it's probably not the case, but it made me wonder, body of a man, head of a woman, kind of, you know, cut off the head and swapped heads places, or maybe last ditch attempt at saving her life, or something along those lines. Tattoos in anime usually matter, you know? Tattoos are a thing so rare in Japanese culture and pretty much only associated with Yakuza and, you know, gaijins, that if a character has a tattoo, it's probably magical in some way, or it's a leftover from a spell cast at them by a demon lord, or it's a birthmark that just happens to look like a shooting star, or, you know, there's usually some meaning behind those tattoos. So I wonder, or maybe Carlos is just transsexual. I mean, that would be like the easiest explanation, wouldn't it? Here I'm going for chopping heads and whatnot, and we have a fairly easy explanation. You are. I mean, the only potential candidate that the Chimeras might want to be after would be Oliver, so... Okay, the seeds are coming very useful. Thank you, Guy. Although, shouldn't they be able to just fly over the water? I don't think I've seen any of them fly, actually. Is there no flight spell? Okay, eating some fruitcake. Yep, also a gift from Guy. Senpai doesn't translate to ma'am. What the fuck are you on to? Well, you're welcome to join our friend group. Don't use them willy-nilly, though. Your allies, I assume. Your cousins, or whatever is their relationship. Is that who you sensed? Exactly. I mean, sure, yeah, it has nothing to do with his reasons, but it has to do with his now. So, and yeah, there's of course that. Oh, so we have another target already decided. Makes sense. If Oliver is not going to back out of this adventure, at least we can make sure that it ends as soon as possible, right? Oh, Irmin Sul. That brings memories of Revived Witch, the gacha game. One of the worlds, I believe, was called Irmin Sul. You have brooms, that's a fair point. Couldn't you have used the brooms to cross the river instead of using up the seeds? That startled me. Oh, hey, ancient magics. Always excited for ancient magics. Yeah, sun 24/7. You could run a nice photovoltaic plant here. If only they were using electricity. Yeah, not anymore. Easy. This looks like a nest. His, meaning whose? A dragon? A basilisk? No, a monkey. Horned gorilla. Oh, lost his fingers. That wasn't a particularly scary roar, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, you still have your eye. Heal him? Maybe? I know. You have healing magic, don't ya? Regrow his fingers, and he's just gonna be, you know. He's just gonna be grateful and walk away. Yes, he will. Okay, that was easy. Just went to sleep. Not a trick. Chivalry. Right, you need to actually become not a threat. Yeah. I mean, Nanao's stock no jutsu is second to none, so... Chimeras? What are you doing here? Oh, I guess you're going to rescue Faye. Oh, I was expecting a grab by the clothes, by the collar. Okay, another sister to the family. Okay, what's going on? Chimeras are attacking? No, it's a praying mantis. Well, Rib Gorilla. Okay, well, he didn't live for too long. It's a chimera? Weren't chimeras like shapeless blobs, basically, with some tentacles and whatnot? You missed. Oh, I guess a couple of those explosions did hit. That's a nice shot. Nice camera movement and all. Okay. Missile pods, why not? Very nice track. You probably need some armor piercing. And it can regrow. That's not gonna work. Neck. The antennae, maybe, to disorient it. Okay, apply heat, apply cold to make it brittle and blow it up. Yep. Classic. Yeah, that went smoothly. But not smoothly enough. It's still alive, okay. Flanking attack. Yeah, don't use all of your seeds, my dude. Well, shit. Here's a pincushion now. Did he manage to protect himself, I wonder? And yep, with a bit of with a bit of armor and frozen from the inside. That ought to do the trick. Just Frargor it and impetus it, just in case. Shatter it to pieces. Okay. Their first fight went smoothly. And now we get a clip show of other fights. Skeletons? Electricity probably won't work on skeletons, but maybe it does. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about, elemental strengths and weaknesses in this world. Do they even exist in the first place? Who's that following us? Oh, no, okay. She didn't notice. Karst. We are friends. That's the reason. Do you need anything more? We are friends, are we not? And our interests are the same. Yeah. He probably didn't know magic exists for that long. But he has the protagonist energy. Like the rest of us. Oh? In what specifically? Right, how are you this good? That's the question. Yeah. What gives? Years of training, probably. Experiencing pain to be able to deal it with Crucio. Stuff like that. Okay, we still have a couple of minutes. I mean, Pete is fine so far. None of those guys have been hooked up to the whatchamacallit, to the umbilical cord. He's in the girl mode. Wait, so when did he turn back to being a man, or did he not? I thought that she left Pete unhooked from the machinery because she knew that he's a reversi, so it would be useless. Using my own rib as a knife? No, okay, sure, okay. I mean, you brought yourself into this state. Can you not use some healing magic or something? Can you just legit not cast any magic if you don't have a wand? Or an Athame, for that matter. Okay. Okay. So the search party is incoming. 3 search parties actually, and at the same time Pete will also be trying to break himself out. Okay, it's usually how it goes. Well, maybe not usually, but in plenty of cases like that, that's how it goes. There's the rescue incoming from the outside, and there's also the attempt at breaking out from within. What Albright did, though, very interesting. It would make sense for a wizard or a witch to hide things within their body, because they can just retrieve those things and heal themselves back with no issues, right? Not when you are devoid of a wand or an athame, though, apparently. Anything after... No, we don't have the time for anything after credits. Next time, Salvadori. Okay, so I was correct in my assessment that today's episode is gonna be second floor. Next week's episode is gonna be third floor, and the scuffle with Ophelia, and episode 15 will be the win over Ophelia and the fallout of that. Okay, let's go through this one again. There we go. And let's talk about it. Backstory for Ophelia. What made her this way? What is the attraction? What keeps us fascinated? Carlos seems to be Ophelia's first friend. We know that... What's her face? Olivier's cousin, not Teresa, but the other one who he conspires with, who isn't mentioned anywhere on the list of characters, apparently. But yeah, her. Also has some backstory with Ophelia. Interesting. I initially thought that Carlos's thing on her, I'm not sure at this point. I guess. Ophelia assumed Carlos is male, so I'm gonna say his. On his neck is some sort of a choker, like, you know, not crocheted, but, you know, a nice looking choker. That's what I want to say. But apparently he had it since childhood or early adolescence, at least. So it has to be some sort of a permanent mark, a tattoo, or some other kind of a mark. Why? We have to always wonder why. Whenever you see a tattoo on a character in Japanese media, there has to be a reason. People don't get tattoos just because. Where is Nanatsu? Where are you? Undead Girl Murder Farce, Zone 100. Helck, there we go, Nanatsu. Oh, I'm running out of space. Something's fucky wacky with Carlos, and I really want to kind of cling to my theory that it's a severed head grafted onto a male body. I don't know why. I guess this tattoo being placed on the neck really makes me think of the head and the body just being separated at some point. Carlos's head was grafted onto a male body. Perhaps as an experiment, perhaps as a last resort, trying to save her, assuming Carlos's head is female. I don't fucking know. It's confusing. It's confusing, man. But yeah, that's my first theory. Second theory, of course, Carlos is a masculine handsome girl. You know, the prince archetype from Yuri mangas and anime, right? What other possibility is there? Of course, Carlos is reversi or transsexual. Those are the only possibilities that I see. Knowing this show and knowing life, it will probably be something else entirely. I'm not sure, we'll see. You're the next one whose child I'm bearing. Well, shit. That's, you know, fucked. She's like, what? 15, 16, 14 here? God damn. You're a man, aren't you? Well, isn't he? At first I only went to Celia because an alliance between our families forced me to, but when I saw her I couldn't help but think that I wanted to have the same happiness that a normal person... I wanted her to have the same happiness that a normal person can. Okay, so they're just friends. That's as far as we know for certain. Whatever other details are at play, we are ignorant to that fact. My favorite layer for taking a nice walk. Seeing those tropical plants, I'm pretty sure I saw at least some of them at the zoo. They have a really nice, decently new building called Africarium, where they have all sorts of African fish, penguins, stuff like that, geckos, birds, manatees, and they have a separate area with like an airlock almost that has the climate of a rainforest. I entered it and holy shit. I would not want to live in a rainforest. By the time I was done with the tour, we were done with the tour of that rainforest area, I was gasping for air. A great business opportunity though, because right in front of the exit door, there's a slushy stand. Someone was, someone used the fact. But yeah, if this is a definition of a nice walk, well, damn. Wizards are really hardy, aren't they? By the way, if you want to see my photos from the zoo, they're on my Discord. I posted them if you want to take a look. Nice walk. Perhaps if Ophelia's chimeras weren't a factor. Alas, they are. How many seeds does Oliver have? Because he seems to be using them with, no regard for the amount. Oh, there's a river to cross. Whatever, have a handful of seeds. Oh, we're fighting a chimera. Sure, handful of seeds, handful of seeds, handful of seeds. Does he have like that many of them that he doesn't need to care about it? Or is he just being stupid with them? Somehow I doubt it's the latter, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Perhaps, again, adaptation woes. But yeah, why would they cross a river using a fairly useful, extremely useful, and a fairly precious resource. And he didn't use like one seed. He used 6 at least. 6 seeds to grow one plant to cross over a river that really doesn't seem that hard to cross. Like, if they don't have flying spells, if they don't have brooms with them, they surely have some jump enhancement, right? Just jump onto this middle rock and jump from the middle rock to the other shore, or just jump across the river. It's not that wide. Either something wasn't thought out very well, or again, there was a reason for why they didn't cross it by flying, jumping, whatever, in the source material. Or maybe this was Oliver's chance to check out how those seeds even work. That could be it, right? Instead of using them straight up in the battle, where he's not even sure how exactly they work because he never used them, he used a handful to get a feel for them, how many you need, how much mana you need to pour into them to make them grow, stuff like that. Yeah, sure, okay, I could take it as an explanation. I wonder how it looked in the source material, though. So, hey, let me know in the comments. Nano's hungry. And we have some cakes from Guy. Creativity is very important indeed. Karst is here. Yeah, those two are going after Pete. I was to escort you back immediately. What's happening here has nothing to do with why you came to this school. See, this, what she says here, is what I was afraid this show is going to turn into, but it didn't. Right? I was afraid that with the moment it is revealed that Oliver is here to assassinate the teachers, this entire show is just going to flip, do a 180, or at least like a, I don't know, 120 or whatever, and change into just, you know, beelining the vengeance arc, essentially. So yeah, Oliver comes to this school for just one reason. The friends are just a cover. Going to classes, that's just a cover. No, vengeance carries him. I was afraid that this is actually going to be true, but it isn't. It wasn't. The vengeance part is just as integral of a part of the story as the friends and the school and the adventures and eating at the cafeteria are. All of that is equally as important. So of course Oliver is not going to just reject his friends and reject his life at school and beeline the vengeance, because those aren't just a cover-up. They are now an integral part of his life. So sure, what's happening here has nothing to do with why you came to this school. Yes, but the reason why I came to this school and the things that keep me at this school, the things I discovered, the things I gained, are kinda, sorta, two different things. Right? And also, I was to escort you back immediately. That would blow his cover. If you really think about it, right? If Oliver just disappeared here, just was escorted back to the entrance, and say Shella, Vera, and Nanao manage to free Pete, and they come back, and they see that Oliver just ditched them and went back. He wasn't killed by any chimera in the forest, nothing like that. He just turned on his heel and went out. That's so unlike him. So whoever told Teresa that she should just escort him back to the entrance would really blow his cover, which isn't really a cover at this point. It's just who he is as a character, but it would make people think. It would make people wonder, why the fuck did he suddenly change his mind? Why did he ditch his friends? And, But thankfully, Teresa is loyal to Oliver and Oliver alone. Well, Oliver and Oliver most. Next target awaits you very soon. So yeah, Aona, I want you to have me help so that this can be resolved quickly. Exactly. If Oliver won't change his mind, if he's not gonna turn on his heel and go back to the entrance, might as well just deal with what he needs to do as fast as possible so that he can get on with killing more teachers. Irminsul. What mythology is Irminsul from, I wonder? Irminsul. Old Saxon. Great Pillar. A sacred pillar-like object attested as playing an important role in the Germanic paganism of the Saxons. Okay, so not necessarily a tree, but a pillar. Let's see more. Medieval sources describe how an Irminsul was destroyed by Charlemagne during the Saxon Wars. A church was erected on its place. Sacred trees and sacred groves were widely venerated by the Germanic peoples, and the oldest chronicle describing an Irminsul refers to it as a tree trunk erected in the open air. Okay, so it makes sense for it to be a tree. At stations, why is my camera blinking? Hypothesis, yada 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 yada. A church being erected in place of an old Germanic pagan place of worship. I know that well. A nearby mountain, Ślęża, was a place of worship for Slavic, Polish pagans, and there was a nice stone carved bear that was, I'm not sure if it was a deity or some sort of an idol or what have you. Well, that bear was moved, and when that bear stood, now at the top of the fucking mountain, there's a church. At the top of the mountain, because we can't have a pagan Slavic place of worship. No. If it exists, it's not enough that we destroy it. We need to build a fucking church in its place. Now, granted, there's also a radio tower nowadays, and there's also a place where you can buy some food and stay the night, etc., etc. But the church was there first. So yeah, it's common. It's common in Europe that pagan places of worship were just replaced by churches. Could we not simply zoom up to the top with our brooms? Yep. But if you try without knowing the area's layout and ecology, you'll end up regretting it. I guess they are taking the safe route, right? They go through the paths on the ground and through, protected by the tree branches or roots or whatever. If Nanao were to fly around on her broom, or maybe not Nanao would probably manage, but the others, there are flying monsters around. They would just throw you off. And unless you are good and manage to catch your broom again, or use some levitation spell or what have you, you're just gonna become a splatter on the ground, and you're gonna need to spend some time to heal yourself. So yeah, this way might not be the fastest, but yeah, we can't take risks here. It's the safest. Why is there a sun? This moment, this really startled me. This is just a jump scare. That sudden whoop in my, headphones, and oh. We're not sure why it was made. Magical technology that would be difficult to replicate today. I love this trope. I love the trope of magic is not what it used to be, essentially. I love it in 40k. I love it in Warframe. I love it wherever it appears. That I'm using something, some weird thing that we can't replicate it nowadays. And look, it like draws, it leaves markings and whatnot. We can't replicate it today, but it's found somewhere in the ruins. The past civilization made something so amazing and just disappeared. And we can't replicate it, and we don't know how it's working. It makes no sense for it to be working, but it does. I love it. I love ancient magics. Not like on the surface, never sets, so it's essentially a static spotlight. And it is a paradise for plants, yeah. They can photosynthesize forever. Yeah. Not as many magical beasts as usual, thanks to Teresa. She's good. She is good just dispatching all those magical beasts on her own, without a problem. Why are you inside of a big beast's nest? I thought that they might need to go through the trunk, maybe, but it seems like it's this gorilla's lair? Westsider's lair? Or maybe it is actually an entrance to the 3rd floor and the Westsider is just guarding it or took it for its territory. Probably that's the case. Yeah, it's been wounded, it's been hurt. Heal it. If there is anything that My Little Pony taught me, that Fluttershy taught me, is that if you meet a chimera, or what was it that was hurt in My Little Pony, that one episode? I think it was a chimera of some sort. Yeah, the chimera had a thorn in its paw. Grab that paw, take out that thorn, and the chimera will forever like you and will just let you pass. That's how you do it. Cast a healing spell, regrow its fingers. Just like that. Problem solved. It's gonna let you pass. If it has the amount of sentience that we are led to believe it does. But of course, Nano Talk no Jutsu always works. Now sure, in this case it's not so much Talk no Jutsu as much as exuding the air of harmlessness, of like the opposite of killing intent, essentially. Not so much as her words. But it really is a theme with Nanao, that she can just almost like manipulate people, almost brainwash them. Never in like, bad way, but like she's the kind of a person who would talk an alcoholic out of drinking. Legit. Give her a position as a whatchamacallit, as a therapist. Just let her in with some people who have issues. She's gonna talk people out of alcoholism. She's gonna talk people out of smoking. She's gonna talk people out of depression. She's gonna talk people out of fucking schizophrenia. Her words carry this much power, honestly. And yeah, magical beasts can sense scent and mana, whether they are a threat or not. Learned that from Nanao. Not Nanao. Nano learned that from Katie. And of course, it would make sense that the monster is wounded, it's weakened. If it can avoid a fight, it will avoid a fight, so let's give it that opportunity. Yeah, Nanao is full of surprises, Katie is full of surprises, Guy is full of surprises. Shit, I'm interested in them. Vera will be a recurring character, 100%. That's more of a theory for the source material or future seasons, should they eventually arrive. But I'm gonna note it down. Is a recurring character, maybe even joins the team in some way. I mean, in some ways she already did. She's helping them, she's helping Katie, etc., etc. Then again, she's an upperclassman, so she probably won't join them in like official capacity. She will not be one of the Sword Roses, but she will be a friend they have among the upperclassmen. That's how I'm gonna put it. Stacy, of course, she's rushing in to save Faye. We meet another sister, Lynette, a 4th year. And this is mostly just bickering. This was easy. That Chimera really didn't break a sweat fighting King Kong. Using some seeds, using Progressio. Progressio. What does Progressio do? It speeds up the growth of plants. Does it only work on plants? Can you cast Progressio on someone and age them up? Explosions. Yeah, this is a nice shot. It doesn't use any like CG or anything, but this shot uses some very interesting tricks. The smoke separates the planes, right? We have one plane that Nanao is running on, and we have another plane that's a sheet essentially moving top down, and the smoke masks the seam between those two. Yeah. I need to copy image, paint. There we go. Let's make the canvas a little bigger. There we go. Here's what I mean. Been a while since I used paint during the video. The seam is kind of like around here, right? And this plane just moves in this direction to create an illusion of movement. And then you have a plane that extends up there and down there. And this whole thing just moves down. And my mouse is losing me a click every now and then. Yeah, it seems to be losing me a click. Oh well, I'm gonna have to fix that, right? And this really gives us a lot of effect with very little, very little actually happening here, for lack of a better term. There's not like a super advanced animation going on or anything. It's just a very nifty trick. A couple of sliding PNGs. And we also draw the camera closer in. So yeah, we also hide the fact that it's two planes moving in different axes, because we also zoom in, so it moves in more axes and it looks like both planes are moving in the same direction. I don't know how to explain it well, but if you see it, I bet you see it. Missile pods. Of course it would have fucking missile pods. Why would it not? After all, it's the Ophelia's Chimera. Regrows the legs, because of course it would. Fire, ice, makes things brittle. Classic, actually a classic move. I see it used so often in anime, in manga, wherever. Cast freezing spell, cast a fireball, or in the opposite direction to make someone's armor more brittle. Then just kick it or blow it up or whatever. Tonitrus it. No, Tonitrus is the electricity spell. Fragor. Fragor is the impact. Or the explosion. Impact is impetus. Rapid change in temperature weakens its armor. And Oliver is standing there like, yeah, it does. Yes, she is correct. It's such a... It's almost fourth wall breaking, this one moment. You know, it's like, you know, they think that the viewers will be confused. Why did this happen? How did this happen? So let's have Shella explain it, and let's have Oliver, you know, confirm it so that there's not a shred of doubt. Such a weird thing to do. But yeah, not quite enough. Slash from below, but Oliver was of course prepared. And frozen from within. The ability to cast the spell from different places on your Athame, that's really useful, isn't it? Because if you cast it from the very base, then you can make your entire blade freezing or hot or whatever. And when you cast it and when you stab something or someone and cast it just at the tip, you can blow them up from within or freeze them from within. This is cool. I really like how much the existence of Athame adds to the magic system in this world, right? That it's not just wands. It's not just wands that can emit projectiles or hands that can emit projectiles, but you have a blade. Something that can pierce through and launch a spell at the other end of whatever it pierced through. This adds so much potential. Quite a result for your first battle. Yeah, sure. Future battles apparently will also be nearly as easy. This is just an adaptation thing, isn't it? This like clip show, or is it not? I wonder. This could go two ways, probably. Either in the source material we get a something like, and then they fought for the next 5 hours, and then they found themselves whatever. We essentially get a time skip, or all of those fights, all of those events are actually covered in the source material, but they just decided to, you know, cut them out basically in the adaptation because it would simply take too much time. Fighting Skelly Man. Electricity, probably not the best idea, but sure, it works. Yeah, this almost felt like a time skip. Why do you like Pete so much? Well, because he is, compared to everybody else at the Academy, or most people at the Academy, he's not a nobody. That's not the right word to use here, but he's the one who has the right to be scared of magic. because he wasn't brought up, he wasn't raised in an environment where his parents, for example, would use magic on the daily. It's not the case. He is from a non-magical family. So if there's anybody who has the right to turn the tail and run, it would be Pete. But he didn't do it. He has a sense of justice. He has a sense of, you know, some sort of a chivalry or what have you, right? There's someone in distress, I must help them, some sense of duty like that. And that makes him a great friend. Happy that the friend they met on the first day at Kimberly, the strange and threatening place, was someone like that. Yeah, you need people like that if you're in a very threatening place. And also, it stands to reason that if it was Oliver who was kidnapped by Ophelia, Pete would be rushing to Oliver's help. I have very little doubt about it. Very little doubt. I see Pete maybe in such an eventuality. I see Pete training restlessly throughout the night and throughout the day to grow strong enough to be able to save Oliver. You know, I see something like that happening. So Oliver is simply doing the same thing that Pete would have done for him. And yeah, this is actually a good question, and it's very interesting that Vera was the first one who noticed it. Shella and Nanao, sure, they can be powerful. Absolutely. Nanao was raised on the battlefield, so of course she would learn excellence in combat. Shella was raised as an heiress of a big magical family, so of course she would get the best training, the best education possible. But you're a nobody. You at least say you're a nobody. You don't belong to any special family. Your circumstances aren't any special either. You don't seem to have any particular talent. But shit, you're keeping up with those two exceptional students. So what's going on there? It's a very good question, actually. It's a very good question, and it's really surprising that Vera is the first one to ask it. And I guess it's also a gap in Oliver's cover, isn't it? His sheer competence. His cover would have been better if he didn't make himself as average. Interestingly enough, the fact that his made-up backstory is essentially, oh, I don't have a backstory, I'm just whatever, your everyday regular guy, really makes it so that whenever he shows excellence, it's odd. It would be much better if they made up some magical family from the next continent over or whatever, right? Maybe Oliver's parents are from this continent, they went over to the other continent, conceived Oliver, and now he is back home in his home continent, his home country, and he wants to learn magic here. And his parents belong to some huge magic family. Oh, you don't know that family, they go to another school, basically. So he got the upbringing kind of the same way Michela did. And that would explain his excellence. And nobody would be able to check whether such and such family actually exists in fucking Tongo or wherever, right? Yeah, the weakest link of his cover is that he's average. Because he doesn't act average. I wonder if that's actually gonna blow his cover. Oliver acts average, but isn't, and it'll blow his cover. Yeah. The best lies are the lies that are based on truths. Simple. If a lie is completely made up, it has weak spots. It has weak points. If there's a seed of truth in it, it suddenly holds much better. Pete seems fine. Interestingly, Albright also seems fine. I thought that Ophelia just hooked everybody up to the umbilical cords. Or is she, like, using them in... You know, in... whatchamacallit? Not... In, like, portions, right? Suck out 50 people first, throw them out, suck out another 50 people, throw them out, instead of just sucking out everybody at the same time? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why Albright isn't hooked up yet. I'm not sure why Pete isn't hooked up yet, despite their cellmate, Faye, being hooked up. Something's amiss here, and I'm not sure what. Pete is a reversim. You became a woman while you were asleep. I wonder, did Pete even turn back to being a male? If it did happen, then it had to happen off screen. I don't know. Or maybe it's Albright just thinking that, hey, Pete turned in the middle of the night because he didn't know that Pete was reversi, didn't know that Pete already was a woman. I don't know. Your being here is outside her expectations. We were brought here to be used as males. Yeah. This is brutal. Initially, I thought that he's going to rip out his rib and start, you know, banging at the wall, trying to carve the way out or something. But no, he pulls out his last trump card. Actually, an interesting topic. What makes... we know that you apparently cannot use magic without a wand. I'm not sure how true that is, but from what Albright says here, he doesn't have an athame, he doesn't have a wand, he's, you know, disarmed, he can't do shit. So I assume you need a wand or some sort of a focus to cast spells. What makes a wand? I don't know, in Harry Potter it was a core of some magical creature and the outer shell of wood. I assume in other stories it might be a gem embedded in it, or a special enchantment, or whatever. Another question, can you make wands out of bone? You see where I'm going here? Because if you can, what's stopping a mage from turning their finger into a wand? Carve the magical inscriptions in the bones of a finger and, you know, pew 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 with your magic with your finger in case you lose your actual wand. And if casting magic through your finger blows open the tip of your finger, doesn't matter because you have a wand. You can cast a healing spell now. Right? And cutting off your finger, cutting it open and carving the inscriptions or inserting gems or whatever into the bone, putting it back on your hand, casting a spell to make it grow back together, is within the realm of possibility for mages. Or hell, if those bones are too small and there can't be any gap between them, carve it into your fucking forearm. Sling firebolts like you're fucking Spider-Man. Right? Right? Am I right here or am I right? I wonder if there is something stopping mages in this world from doing that. Because this would be like my first thought. If you give me a wand, if you tell me I need to use a wand to cast magic, first of all, I would give that wand a strap so that I can't be disarmed because the strap is around my wrist. Second of all, I would turn at least one of the bones in my body into a wand, just in case. Maybe I would be able to cast fireballs out of my rib, maybe out of my foot, maybe out of my finger, but I would have some backup. Explosive, smoke, and distress emits sound and mana. Well, explosive, kind of obvious, blow your way out. Smoke, hide yourself, assuming you can hide from Ophelia. And distress emits sound and mana to potentially disorient her, or to create a full Stargate, essentially. There's sound, there's a source of mana, so it's probably an escapee, right? Because I assume that, like, through the walls you can't see people, but you can maybe detect mana through the walls. It's usually the case. They won't do me any good in this state. How are you even still alive? Are mages just wizards, mages, whatever, just naturally this hard to kill? Because I thought that their hardiness stems from the fact that they can always just heal themselves. But maybe they naturally just have stronger bodies. They are naturally just superhuman. I'm not sure. If we can tell them our location, everything about the situation changes. Yep. Yeah. I'm entrusting you with my life, nobody. And he still uses the nobody moniker. Pete Reston. Yep. Episode 13. Episode 14, Salvadori. Or Ophelia? No. Salvadori was the title. Okay. Those headphones are hot. My ears are sweaty. But yeah, that was episode 13 of Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru, and it's great. It's good. I like it. I like where this is going, and I'm excited for where is it going to go. I mean, I have more or less an idea of where it's going to go, but I'm still excited to actually see it happen, you know? Yeah. This episode was mostly just a transition kind of an episode. It didn't really start any arcs. It didn't really finish any arcs. I don't want to call it a filler episode, but kinda sorta. Because let's be honest, the only thing of significance that really happened was the pre-opening scene where we learned that Carlos and Ophelia have a history. The fight with the Chimera that tells us, hey, Oliver and his team are capable. And then the scene right before the credits with Pete deciding to escape, which is actually the majority of this episode, honestly. So not a filler, actually. Not a filler. Plenty of important things happened, but they are important, but either not immediately important, like Vera being a little suspicious of Oliver, or either not significantly important, although it sounds like an oxymoron. Like the fact that Oliver and the team can stand their ground against the Chimeras. Because it was kind of, well, maybe not obvious, but it would be very weird if the protagonist group wasn't able to deal with the regular grunt of the villain of the arc, right? It really wouldn't work that well. So, of course, they need to be able to deal with the chimeras, so of course they will be able to deal with the chimeras. So there wasn't really much of a surprise there, and the ending of that fight with Shella just, grabbing all, not Oliver, grabbing Nanao all in tears. Yes, we did it. It kind of fell flat. I'm gonna be honest. It kind of fell flat for me because the fight was fairly standard. It wasn't anything particularly big. For the standards of anime and manga and light novels at large, not this show in particular. In this show, the power levels are a little bit more subdued compared to average power levels of anime, right? In your everyday average anime, this monster would just be a 2-minute fight with the main character jumping in the air, twirling around, doing God Slash of Thunder, and the mantis is just split in half, and that would be it, right? So this monster really didn't feel all that powerful, I guess. Sure, it has sharp appendages and it has some missiles, but it's like nothing really compared to other monsters in other anime. Now, it is unfair to compare this show's power level to the power levels of other anime, right? It's unfair to say that, oh, this monster wasn't that powerful because there were much more powerful monsters in show X. But it's kind of hard to get rid of that bias, And I am aware that I'm judging this show by the merit of other shows in this particular case. But it's just how I feel, and I can't really change that. But I am aware of it, and I am aware that as far as the power scaling of this show itself is concerned, this was, of course, an important battle. This was, of course, a very important win for our group, because it means that they are able to stand against Ophelia. Perhaps not if there's more chimeras attacking them, but the individual chimeras can be destroyed, can be dispatched. Also, it shows us a lot of power scale difference between the years of the students. It's much higher than what I would expect, honestly. Because it seems like a third year student might be able to dispatch, to kill that chimera without much issues, solo, 1v1, and it's not a problem. 1v3 might break a sweat. Fourth year should be able to just plow through those chimeras without much of an issue, and the first year they need a team to defeat at least one of them. It's really like a huge difference between the years, right? I wonder how much of it is because of the training at the school, and how much of it is because of the age. This show does something very interesting in that physical characteristics are important, and the body and biology is important in magic. I don't see that happen often, right? Usually in shows that have magic, whether you are tall or short, man or woman, old or young, you have mostly access to the same magic, mostly access to the same power levels and whatnot. This show has already shown us that women have another source of mana to tap into. It's now showing us that the older you get, the more powerful your magic basically naturally becomes. That physical characteristics you have really affect the magic you can cast. And I like it. I like this take because it's realistic, Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the taller you are, the more mana you can fit. But at the same time, your spells are less stable because the distance between your chakras increases. Or, something like that. I really like it because it makes the magic more realistic, more grounded. That it's not just a whimsical power that can use whatever rules there are, but that it's like, I don't know, the ability to do sports. It's like the ability to sing with a particular voice, be it bass or tenor or contralto or whatever other classifications of voice pitch there are, right? Your biology has impact on that, so why shouldn't your biology have impact on the kind of magic you can cast? Why shouldn't it have impact on your magical ability? Of course it should. Of course it does. I like it. I really, 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 really do like this show. Perhaps I'm sometimes thinking way too ahead. I'm talking about things that aren't in this show, like bone ones, for example. But that's also why I like this anime. That's also why I like this story, because it inspires me. It really inspires me. Because even if bone wands are not going to be a thing in this show, this is now an idea I have. If one day I sit down to write a book or a light novel or an isekai story or whatever, now I'm gonna use bone wands in it. Now I'm gonna use bone wands. And now I'm gonna have biology have impact on your magic ability, right? It really strikes that creative string somewhere in my head, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Right. Okay, I think that's it. An hour and a half ish. Okay, an hour and a half ish. That should suffice. I've probably talked for much longer than I needed to. That's what I usually do when I'm tired, so forgive me for that. But right now, that's gonna be it. Maybe you guys have something more to add though. Absolutely do tell me so down in the comments below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories? No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to the Discord here and in the description below. If there are any clarifications as to how it was in the source material, please do, but I leave it at your discretion whether it's a spoiler or not, as usual, and rather err on the side of caution. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru, but also Meguca Magic Magia Record, also Sousou no Frieren, Helck, Zom 100, Ancient Magus Bride. What else is there? Other shows coming at you in the future. I also stream sometimes, so you might want to click the bell icon to be notified when I go live. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, linked down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me monetarily on YouTube itself via memberships and super thanks, also down below. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do the good stuff. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB Without the Net, The Corporal Survivor, Zetran, Zay, Rainer, Akamancer, Marsh, Fassel, David, Dr. Wodke, Lion, Hans, Peter, and you can join them without the need to defeat a gorilla.